Greetings to all of you. On this very night, the night crossing from Sunday the 20th October into Monday the 21st October of the current Gregorian year 2024. I crave leave to extend most friendly greetings along with my most humble plea. This year, the International Anti-Slavery Day, I'm reiterating, the International Anti-Slavery Day fell on a Friday, precisely on October the 18th of the current year. Although I campaign against human trafficking and illegal slavery, in fact, I have been campaigning against illegal slavery as well as human trafficking, the heinous crimes, for a number of years, yet I was not available on Friday during the day. And in the evening it was already Sabbath in English, or as we say Shabbat in Hebrew. So it would not have been appropriate for me to telecast online, live as I'm doing at this very moment. Nonetheless, the heinous crimes of human trafficking and illegal slavery continue all throughout the year of every single year for decades, perhaps even for centuries and millennia. Even this morning, Sunday morning, according to the Indian Standard Time, since I am at this moment in the city of Calcutta, India. The city is also called Kolkata by many people and even recognized officially by many organizations, including the very state of West Bengal and the Union of India to some extent. This was a message delivered by a lady involved in the very benevolent and laudable service at the Salvation Army of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. The news broadcasting was made, or I should say the news or these messages were broadcast by the BBC service, precisely BBC Radio 4. And this was shortly before midday of the Indian Standard Time, which of course meant that 4 hours and a half going back on time would be the time of the United Kingdom. And this particular lady emphatically pointed out that so-called modern slavery is continuing. But this is not merely what is spoken by this particular lady. The fact that slavery is continuing is known to many, if not most of us. And while I am addressing you on this very night, crossing from the 20th till, or I should say into the 21st of October, people are being trafficked and sold into illegal slavery. Slavery ought to be considered to be one of the most heinous, inhumane, and shameful crimes which exist even in our world at this very moment. Slavery was abolished in many countries many, many years ago. In some countries, not merely decades, but even a couple of centuries ago. Slavery was fought by three distinguished lawyers of Britain who brought out their case before the Honourable Judiciary, advocating that slavery was not merely non-Christian, but inhumane. The United States of America followed not long after, but quite soon, in prohibiting slavery after the so-called Civil War, or even the war between the North and the South, between many people who believed that slavery was wrong and evil, including late President Abraham Lincoln, and his opponents who continued to believe that a group of human beings who were non-white would have to serve as slaves even in their plantations, which no doubt was extremely painful and full of sufferings for the victims who were treated as slaves. But slavery was abolished even by the Constitution of India, by the Constitution of the United States of America. And no doubt, many people, if not most, of the people of the United States believe quite openly and truly that slavery is inhumane. What about the rest of the world? Many other countries followed their suit, the suits of the United Kingdom and also the United States. And many countries introduced legislations or promulgated laws which prohibited slavery. But can we say that slavery is not being continued in various parts of the world? If we could, we would be dishonest even before our own selves. Slavery continues despite the fact that slavery is illegal in many, if not in most, and perhaps all the country states of the United Nations organization, or belonging to the United Nations organization. Alas, theory and practice are far apart, perhaps as far as the East is from the West. Of course, I'm not referring to the Eastern or the Western world on our globe. I'm giving an example. Although theoretically slavery is illegal, punishable, offensive in most countries belonging to the United Nations, yet slavery, human slavery, illegal slavery, continues more vehemently, widely, actively, and viciously throughout the world, even at this very moment. Even on this very night, crossing from Sunday into Monday, the 20th into the 21st October of the current year. This is, however, more alarming in the light of the fact, or facts in plural, that many people are confronted with severe poverty caused not merely by natural calamities, but also by wars and warlike situations in various parts of the world. Hardly 2 years ago, and perhaps not yet completed, some 50,000 people died in Turkey and in the neighboring country Syria. Corresponding with some of my friends from Turkey, I learned that many young people, children, babies, disappeared after the devastation, or devastations in plural. The current situation in Eastern Europe, in the Middle East, in Sudan, and in other parts of the world is not merely alarming, but it is a very vivid situation which has to be taken into account. People becoming orphans, widows even at very young ages, are often and very seriously endangered to be abused as slaves due to the poverty, due to the situation with which they are confronted even at this very moment. The heinous human traffickers, the greedy human beings who bear the name human being but fall short of the same because they lack humanity, are awaiting their chances to traffic the victims, even those who lost their parents or their husbands, or those who are confronted with severe poverty, as I already said, due to the calamities, natural ones, and also the devastations caused by us human beings, including in prosecuting wars in various zones of the world. We are called upon to combat such heinous crimes of illegal slavery and human trafficking. It is our moral duty, and it is a duty befitting our human birds, that we act. We act now at this very moment, because even the next couple of hours, many people are likely to be trafficked and sold into illegal slavery. Human trafficking is also practically carried out by many people who entrap citizens and inhabitants of the developing countries by raising false hopes that those people, those victims, if they pay large sums of money to those traffickers, they would be brought into countries of better living, higher standard of living. And many, perhaps too many of them, perish even in the course of the voyages which they undertake, believing those human traffickers. If we claim to be human beings, we are automatically duty-bound. We are obligated to become duty-bound to combat such inhumanity. We can only prove ourselves worthy of our human births if we follow the course of true humanity. In speaking out, in reporting matters, and if possible, in carrying out effective acts in prevention of such heinous crimes, the ones which I called vicious crimes, even human trafficking and illegal slavery, giving rise to modern slavery of this very night, this very moment, and this very age. I therefore, being a global citizen, and call myself your most humble servant, thus beg you most humbly, with all due respect and with all due sincerity, to come forward and act. While I thank you in anticipation for your kind understanding and the appropriate response, and bid you the protection of the same Almighty God who created all of us, even those very victims of human trafficking and illegal slavery, or modern slavery as a whole. Thank you, and good night.